You're good to go.
Okay, Sue, would you like me to take notes or do you want to take notes? What do you think?
You have done lots of note taking lately. I am already taking notes.
Okay, so with that, with no further delay, it's 5:03. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Sue, hi, Harry.
Hey, Carlene. How's
Just
it
coming in time. Good. I haven't heard from Bob. I expect him to be here. I have heard from Peter to say that he can't be here because I think he's attending a wedding for his daughter.
Yes.
And I haven't heard from Linda, but we have a quorum, so let's proceed. Sue, thank you for your edits. I incorporated those. Sue made some just clarifying edits on the minutes, nothing substantive that would delay their approval, just some typos and clarifications. So if I could, I would love to have a motion to approve the minutes from the September 15th and September 23 meetings.
Did
I
you,
would have to, I'd have to abstain from the 15th because I wasn't there.
you
Okay,
were actually not required to abstain
Oh.
if you weren't there, but certainly no one would object to you abstaining on the ground.
Okay. Well, if it makes for a simpler vote to do them both at the same time, then
so a
Correct.
motion,
I retract my abstention.
Carlene, I sent you edits also on the minutes of the 15th. Are
yes,
we,
I had those already though.
so we're voting on that with those incorporated. And again, they
Yes.
were not substantive. They were just
Yes, right.
Okay, in that case, I move that we accept the minutes of September 15 and September 23 as amended.
So Sue moves, who seconds? Krista seconds. We'll do roll call. In favor, Carlene is yes. Krista?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Harry?
Yes.
Wonderful, that's done. I'd like to show the agenda quickly, just to have it up. You'll see that we're going, we've already done our first agenda item. Now we're going to hear from Bill Murray, Director of Planning and Landscape Architecture at Places, to talk about the final two concept plans as tweaked from our last meeting 2 weeks ago. And then we'll strategize the October 14th public forum. Let me stop my share. I'm assuming Marcia has already given all people or multiple people ability to view this. And so with that, Bill, if you don't mind, want to take it away, or do you want me to share? Because I have your renderings. Should I share them?
Whichever is your preference.
Do you have them right there at the ready?
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you do that? And then you can manipulate the screen as you'd like.
Okay.
Turn off my phone.
Can everybody see the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is scheme 1B.
Can you make it a little bit? Yeah.
Yep. I can that go away. So scheme 1B, we've cleaned it up. We show areas of grass and we show the areas of treed areas to be preserved. This 1B is the one with the amphitheater. We've added some of the plinths up above to the north of the amphitheater. A little clarification on the Wildflower Pollinator Meadow so that this is generally open. Of course, it is open now anyway, with supplemental plantings and some sort of feature in the center, either a paved feature or something vertical. And we do not show the building on this scheme. And again, you know, more plinths down here, but it is pretty much what you had seen before.
Mhm.
I can see that I got a little rendering that I need to fix there, a little white showing through.
No worries.
Then that was 1B. Here's 1B with the building.
Oh, that's helpful. Bill, is the light green grass and the dark green just like current tree growth?
Yes. And then down in the lower corner, the bluer green are the wetlands.
Okay,
So we got blue, blue-green, green, which is woods to be maintained. There's a little bit difference on the two schemes because when we downloaded the CAD, the assisted living has this drain pipe going across, and actually the outfall that they've designed is immediately in our path. So we've pushed it closer to the wetlands, which probably will make them a little grumpy because it's closer in the buffer zone and closer to the wetlands. But in order, we don't want our path to go down and have the water flow across it. We'd rather have our path above the outfall and we walk above the pipe over there. But that gives you a little reference. Up here, you can see these dash lines. There are two of them, two sets of them. Those are the sewage leach fields. So when we get to this, depending upon what the grading is going to be, we're going to have to adjust our path to accommodate those leach fields. So they might be mounted and therefore we might have to be have an elevated walkway there
Okay.
just above. So again, we've I don't know if you like it better with the building. It certainly gives you the perspective of what's going on.
I think
Yeah.
it's really valuable to see it with the building, to see how it fits into the space. And just to give, for the forum's sake, to give people a sense of
Yep.
Go.
not hiding the building, because that would be weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
so-
think we should probably proceed with the building and the scheme. Krista and Harry, do you agree?
I agree.
Yeah.
Is the dark tea, is that like grass pavers emergency access or something?
Yeah, the black, I'm gonna lighten that up on the next rendering. Yeah, that's their emergency access route, and I don't know what they're gonna build it out of. I think it's grass paves, but I don't know.
And is the light brown patch on the riverfront area, what does that say in there?
Sumac.
Sumac.
Yeah, I think it would be fun if it was a different color, because it makes it seem either like pavement or building or sand, but you may be running out of colors, so I won't make a big deal out of it.
We're never running out of colors.
How about, because sumac is red, how about something with a rose tint? And then it becomes a little less like a sandbox. I know what you mean, Sue.
Oh, yeah, that
Okay.
nice, lovely
A mauve, a
red
mauve or a rose tint,
orange
yeah.
of the flowers, yeah.
Bill, will you take us back to either the first one or the second one, but bring us in closer on the meadow, and let's start there and understanding what you're looking at?
I see that you put in the lawn by the paths to keep the ticks back.
Yep.
It's good to show that.
There's actually a lot of lawn there. Of course, it's a big empty field, and lawn is a pretty inexpensive way to, lawn or ground cover is a pretty inexpensive way to occupy the space and landscape it.
Well, isn't Wildflower Meadow, once you have any wildflower, you have to mow. Isn't a little bit more of it pretty much the same expense?
Well, wildflower, you mow no more than twice a year. You mow it in the fall, maybe in the early spring. The lawn, of course, you're gonna mow on a regular basis just to keep it down. Ground cover, depending
Wildflower
on,
should be cheaper than lawn.
what's that?
So Wildflower Meadow should be even cheaper than lawn.
It is cheaper to maintain, yes. It's a little more expensive to establish.
Yeah.
Okay, and we do have to have some lawn.
Well, do we, what's ground cover in this context? Is it bark mulch and like hostas? What's ground cover? Krista.
Yeah,
might talk
it
to this.
It would be like a pachysandra in the shady areas, and we'd find some sort of a walkable ground cover that could take direct sun. It would not invite you to walk on it, but it would fill the space.
Okay. Thoughts
Bill, I
about
was,
lawn? Oh, go ahead, Krista.
I just had a question because I had been trying to picture what what we're calling the commas, what those look like. And then I went for a ride on the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail starting in Acton. And there's a new little park there on Concord Street, at the parking area.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, this must be what those look like. Was that your work?
No.
Oh, okay.
Did you take a picture, Krista?
I I think I did. I'll have to look through my pictures. I'll send it if I did.
What do we say, folks, if people next week fuss about lawn? Because isn't lawn sort of not, people think that it's not environmentally preferable to have
Well,
lawn?
what we're doing on a lot of our public projects, and I just did it on a police station in Walpole, is we're using a lawn micro clover mix.
Oh,
So the micro clover is pollinator friendly, extremely drought resistant, and does not require cutting. So the lawn looks really nice and green in the spring. And when it starts to brown out, the micro clover is taking over in the middle of the summer. And that's a really neat blend, and it seems to be working pretty well.
you said pollinator friendly, drought resistant. You said a third thing. What was the third feature you said?
Low maintenance.
Low
It does-
maintenance.
it doesn't get like a normal clover. It doesn't grow more than 2 inches tall. So you really don't need to cut it very often.
I
need
thought
that
it
one.
blooms less than regular clover, but, or are there different varieties? Because if it blooms less, then it's less pollinator friendly, although still
But it's
some.
more pollinator friendly than a lawn.
And a
Well,
lawn.
that's certainly
yeah.
true, yes, yes.
There's
So, yeah.
also that at the little junction park near the 7-Eleven, there's some demonstration low impact lawn. Like I think there's like a fescue blend. There's some little signs there that describe what the seed mix is.
Yep.
Oh,
And of course,
Okay.
they're the new grasses that send the roots down 2.5 feet, extremely drought resistant, and they grow very slowly up top. But they are grasses. They're not a mix.
and Bill, what kind of trees are these eventually going to be trade trees? I
Shade
must be
trees,
tired.
yeah.
Shade trees.
I was thinking
What?
something like a pin oak because its branches reach down, but they don't go all the way to the ground. So they're really good park type of tree. The other plant that I really have been using quite a bit is it's a hybrid between a red maple and a silver maple. And it has the best features of both. The silver maple is a very brittle tree and it breaks. But it's very sturdy and drought resistant. And of course, everybody knows the red maple, the swamp maple. Well, this is a hybrid between the two. It's a Freeman maple. And it would work even in the sandy soil, and it will give us that amazing red or yellow fall color. Very hardy plant, very resistant to most diseases and pests.
What does the silver maple hybridization add that's better than plain red, out of curiosity?
Well, the red maple is the swamp maple, and it likes damp, wet feet.
Okay, so the silver maple will take it a little drier. Got it.
Right. Yeah, and it grows a little bigger, a
That's
little
not
longer
bad.
lasting.
Right.
Okay. And then what are these, when on the bottom Wildflower Meadow, there are 3 circles in there. What's that depicting?
Yeah, we should have colored those in. We were thinking some sort of ornamental tree there.
Okay.
It would be something like a dogwood, something that is indigenous to the area.
Yeah, let's make those green like the other ones. That's
Yep.
great. Okay.
Yeah. So yes, a dogwood or a crabapple, or there's a lot of choices. Let us
Right.
not pick hawthorn.
No.
I just put in a hawthorn and it's so beautiful, but I did not know the flowers would smell like tinned fish.
I used to be a landscaper, and I didn't realize when I was cutting a lawn, not wearing a shirt and went under a hawthorn, I didn't realize it was a hawthorn with 1.5-inch long spikes. Because
Spikes, yeah.
hawthorns have spikes.
Yeah.
That
we
was a
have
rather
those on
messy
campus.
affair. Yeah, hawthorns, we don't use them in public parks.
They make thornless hawthorns, but the tinned fish smell is a little
Yeah,
weird.
no, not so
Yeah.
good. And then we could put, and you're still imagining that these sort of gray circular areas would be sites for interpretive panels.
Yep.
Okay. If
Yep.
no one objects, can we go to the other side of this? Is that okay with everyone? Okay, this looks like I'm not confused about anything here. It looks like we just, it's sort of a stripped down version of what we had before. Any comments from the group?
Just one quick comment that if we do end up having to put in some sort of raised walk above the leaching fields, I've always thought that boardwalks are tons of fun. and kids like them to run across with the railings on either side.
Where,
I
where, yeah,
They wouldn't let us do that. They wouldn't let us put a wooden structure. By raised walk, I mean, it would be an earth-filled, essentially, earth-filled, like you would walk on the top of a dam.
Oh, okay, that's annoying, but can't be helped.
Right.
okay.
Uh,
This makes sense to me. I feel like I understand this side. Does anybody have any questions or concerns, thoughts about this side?
So
Nope.
the one thing we didn't show here was storybook stations, because we were kind of thinking that the plinth could double as a storybook station if you mounted a little frame on it to it with the picture and the book page. And I didn't know if that was a good idea or a bad idea. I'm trying to bring the cost and the scope down
Yeah,
already.
That's actually a nice idea, but we would need more than just 3 plinths for a story.
We have 8,
If you're thinking of the
9.
ones at the north, if you're thinking of all of them,
All
that's,
of them.
or
Yeah.
that's 8 altogether, that would do it.
Yeah, because the point of the thing is, well, it's actually 9. The point is to go from one station to the next station to the next station to encourage the kids to both exercise and explore.
yeah. There's nothing to say that one of our art exhibits couldn't be the storybook, display. I saw Liz with a hand up.
Yeah, so I just was wondering, back there in that corner is where the cart path is. And I think it's helpful to label that, or at least point it out to me.
Up here,
Isn't it up there? It's like back.
this
Yeah,
guy.
you go.
The existing
There it
cart
is, yeah.
path.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. All right.
That might be
Thank you.
useful. Especially,
so.
Bill, if people go visiting and walking onto this on their own and they have this in their hand, they can go and see exactly where everything will fit.
I think we want to, I mean, that's a whole topic in and of itself, Carleen, but I think we
Yeah.
want to really discourage that. In fact,
Oh,
I don't know if we need,
agree. Yeah.
if we need any signage, like no trespassing or something, I just think the CHTC would not want people doing that. And so
No, they-
as a,
I thought this was just to market so that when we show.
It is, Sue, but we've had a question about access from Dory Kehoe, resident Dory Kehoe, and a question about how are people going to walk the site to see what's going on? So we're trying to grapple with what that means.
yeah, so that's a whole another topic. So we can get to that as a separate agenda item if you don't want to stop and talk about
Okay,
that right now.
Okay, all right. Yes, let's get through the concept plan so we can move on to the 14th, because that will be raised. perhaps.
Can I point out that Assabet is usually spelled with only 1 T?
Sure.
Oh.
I did that.
Sue, what a nice way to say it. She added usually, if no one didn't, if everyone noticed that.
Hey, I'm sure that there are ancient documents in which you spell with 1 S, 2 Bs, and 2 Ts.
Yeah.
Um,
And sometimes
Bill-
the T's look like F's.
Bill, can you take us to the other rendering so that we can see the difference? Why don't we start on the meadow? Why don't you walk us through the differences? I see it's mostly the pollinator meadow is a little different.
It's much smaller.
Yeah.
It's more of a circular pathway so that you can choose to simply head straight off over towards the river, or you can meander through our exploratory areas. Again, here, this would be the Civil War Plaza, and this would be the Concord Prison Plaza with interpretive panels or whatever. We have some pictures for you to see a little bit later on. Again, the elements are the same, but the Wildflower Meadow is much smaller. We could put the Wildflower Meadow in the center. And again, our small grove of trees, these would be essentially the same trees that we had on the previous one,
Mhm.
some small flowering trees. This, of course, we've moved now this a little to the south. The previous entry was over here.
Mhm.
So we've moved this more towards the assisted living facility. So this is a little more plain Jane and a little more compact, I would say.
Mhm.
The other one is a little bit more open. and we spread the components out.
Mhm.
But pretty much the same components. We could put a circular feature here, either a tile or something vertical or a tree in the center of that big plaza.
Sorry, Bill, I didn't notice on the first plan, was there a stone wall on that one too?
Yep.
Okay.
Right there. And that's a modification of the existing stone wall. We're not really we're going to clean it up and make sure it's in good shape. We're hoping not to import additional stones because there is a stone wall all along much of that, and we'll see how much, if any, that the senior facility is going to disturb. Maybe we can salvage their stones.
Okay. All right, with no objection, Bill, take us over to the other side. And then also, I just want to say, Linda and Marcia, I can't see you on my screen. So if you want to say something, just pipe up. Because I don't see your faces on my screen.
No
Okay, go
worries,
ahead.
you know I will.
So, very much the same because we've narrowed it down through the design process. This is the recessed lawn.
Mhm.
The brown would be like a juniper covered slope because it is the inside slope of the berm that exists out there right now. There'd be a small little retaining wall here because the berm can't extend into the path. Again, we're keeping the plinths, we're keeping the overall concept pretty much the same as we had done before.
Mhm.
I'm not sure about these connections. I think we need to work them out a little bit better. But the intent is this would be a level lawn here, flat, and then it would pitch down and this would be a lower level. So there'd be a transition here where there's a walkable slope to get to a lower level. So it's really pretty straightforward. Picnic tables or some other kind of table. So you can sit here and watch somebody play, and that they're going to be contained. Frisbee, dogs, I don't know what you're going to allow.
So for the recessed lawn there, the wall is at the inside of the brown slope. Do I have that right?
Yeah, it's a seat wall that's 2 feet 6 inches high, and we use a segmental rock, a block retaining wall that kind of looks like rock, and you would be able to sit right on it.
Yep.
Whereas down to the south, this is just a lawn area that's defined casually.
But
This
you have a black line drawn around it. Is that is that just indicating where the lawn area is, or is that
Yes.
supposed to be a built element?
No, that's indicating where the lawn area is for the graphic purpose. I think when we get out there, the areas to the outside will be a little bit, will not be a manicured lawn area, but will be the savanna look with that type of grass.
Right.
But this would be inviting to say, this is obviously where we want you to come in.
Yes.
Okay, then single path going around paved, right? The darker gray path is paved, is that right?
Yep,
Or
it's still
some sort of.
planned to be paved, but I'm still looking up the gravel stabilization material that they use over at Walden Pond. I haven't been able to get a response back as to whether the rangers like it or not.
Okay. Okay, and then the outlook, there's just one outlook? I can't see the top. Is there just one outlook? There's two. And one you're thinking would have a little bit of information about the wild and scenic river, and one would just be a place to look, sit and look over the river, right? Okay.
Right. Yep. And kind of a staging area or a meeting area. I'll meet you at the overlook, and then we'll go to the lawn, that type of
Yep, yep,
thought process.
yep. Okay, and then the sort of little blue, aquamarine blue thing, like right on Winthrop Street at the bottom, that's where the bike racks would be. That's sort of a little opening plaza to get in.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Again, a low stone wall just to define and separate it from the rail trail with bike racks, benches, kiosks, and rules and signage. And again, I've done the same thing. I've moved their drainage so that we can walk over it and not be flooded out by it.
Okay. Okay.
And this
that's-
is the exact same scheme, but with the building.
Yes. The building definitely makes it look busier, but I think it's important for perspective for people, so.
And I
And
feel
I
it
don't
also,
know if you want us to color the building.
No, I wouldn't. I would leave the, I don't know if others feel, Harry, you might have a different opinion as the visual person here, but I think to distinguish it as the, because we're not really focused on the building, we really want to see the colorful stuff, and that's where the eye is drawn. What do you think,
it
Harry?
also makes it more clear that we're working on the colorful stuff and
Yeah.
we're showing the building. And
Someone
I think
else's
it's
thing.
really good to show it so that we don't bait and switch people to thinking they're getting a park with no big assisted living facility in the middle.
Also, we don't want anyone to talk to us about the building. It's not our mission. We're not interested in chatting about the building or its function or, right? That's not us.
Yeah, I mean, it could even be a little bit grayed out, like you're saying, taking that black and gray that down and just, it's great to see the structure because it makes a huge difference in understanding what this property, this land is like. But keeping it black and white is good.
Right,
Okay.
Harry's right, it could be grayed down, although it would have to not be grayed so much, it would mix into the other grade background stuff.
We
But-
can make it a slightly darker gray.
Yeah, you could just,
And I gotta do something with that fire department access. It's just too dark, reading too dark.
Yeah, it's the upside down T, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's your eye goes straight there.
Yeah, it does. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's not your fault.
Oh, it is.
Oh, well, then bad, Bill, fix it. Okay, folks, so tweaks to this. This is our sort of, I mean, we'll have many opportunities to tweak, but what sort of tweaks would people like to see?
Well, Carlene was right about making the 3 ornamental trees be green, like
Yeah.
these green trees here. Yeah, those 3 little jobbies.
I hate that.
And if we can, I mean, it seems to me like we could slightly expand the area of the wildflower pollinator meadow, especially the middle segment could go over a little more to the left and a little up to the top, but that's, and a little to the right in that one, but that's pretty deep in the weeds. Ah, the weeds.
Yeah, I just say more pollinator meadow. I just think there's so much support for that sort of thing and interest. What do you think, Marcia? About just extending the pollinator meadow as much as we can over on those sides?
I think it will, the long-term impact would be wonderful. It's going to take a lot of effort to make that happen. Just, we're dealing with a small pollinator meadow over at Barrett's Mill Farm, and it takes some time to get it to where you want it to be. So it's, we need, in addition to getting buy-in, we need to have volunteers who will help make it happen. So,
Okay, meaning it won't look pretty for a while.
yeah,
Okay.
And it takes maintenance.
yeah.
The fire department ever expressed any interest in practicing controlled burns?
I think there are air quality issues attached to that these days.
I can't see Liz, but I bet she's shaking her head vigorously.
I bet the seniors wouldn't appreciate that in the assisted living either.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Especially since the prevailing wind is from the west, yes.
Okay, I really like this meadow. Let's see the other, I don't like the other one as much, and probably because for the lack of pollinator
Two.
area. But it seems really diminished in this one.
It does, and I think that as Bill is doing right now, he can drag it out a little bit. It can go from
Okay,
the trail, and the bottom section could go up a little bit, spread out a little bit more, especially the top section. But nevertheless, it's going to be smaller than the other one. But I think
Yeah.
it's good in the sense that what we're trying to do here is give the public 2 choices that are different enough to be a real choice.
Mhm.
And I mean, my hope is certainly that the entirety of the public say we love Plan 1 and we hate Plan 2. But if the public feels strongly the other way, then we will have done a good job of giving them two different plans.
That looks better, Bill. I mean, it just looks a little bit more substantial.
Yeah.
Again, we can tweak it and, you know, this, I know that this is just almost theoretical at this point, but
He can tweak it.
we can tweak it.
Yeah,
Oops, that one goes that way.
it's crossing the path, so you'd have to mess with that more at some point.
Yeah, don't worry about it now.
Okay.
But basically, I think it's looking really great. These two plants that are not the same as each other. I mean, there's a lot of similarity because the space is what it is, but I think there's some real differences, and I really like scheme one.
I also just really like the shade trees over there in the meadow. I mean, it's such a dusty wasteland now, and the idea of there being all these beautiful trees there, even if we have to wait 10 years for any sort of leaf coverage,
Yes.
I think really will make such a difference.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'd even add, well, I always want more trees, but along the stone wall. So I know I'm an outlier on this. I'm still a little concerned by the amount of development in the riverfront area. And it does make me wonder if, like, at what point we will have the NRC weigh in, because I wouldn't want to go to the public forum and then have the NRC be like, no. So Marcia, do you think, like, would they see this before the forum?
There's no way they can see it before the forum, because your forum is next Thursday.
Oh,
They're
is it
meeting
that
with
soon?
the NRC met last night, so.
Oh,
But an invitation to them and an opportunity for them to weigh in. And you can say, we haven't met with all the boards and committees yet. We're getting input. We want to make, we're trying to, we've developed two concepts, and we have I think as you're making your presentation, you need to talk about the things that you're trying to achieve with the different aspects. So you're talking about a welcoming space. You're talking about interpreting the site for history purposes. So introducing the concept of the history of the prison and the history of the site as a muster for 1859. You're talking about the aspects of the site you're hoping to retain with the stand of sumac and the introduction of the pollinator meadows, integrating art and culture into the entire site through these different elements of the interpretation, and perhaps inviting artists to participate with sculpture or different aspects of what, the go outdoors concept, or naturalistic art.
Yeah.
And then gathering spaces, the amphitheater versus the sunken lawn area, the overlooks, providing views and vistas to areas of the river that we don't see often.
Right.
And so talk about the element, before you even go to the plans, I would talk about the elements and the concepts that you have discussed and honed in on. And then you might take a break and say, okay, what have we overlooked? What is missing from what we've just described? And give your attendees an opportunity to say, we're going to take 5 minutes and we're going to hear from people to say what else is missing, or what else would you like to see? And then you go back and say, okay, so we're going to introduce our two concepts and go through them, and then have an opportunity to provide feedback. And I don't know if you want to offer both concepts first and then hone in on one, and then go back to talk about one versus the other. That might be a way to approach it. But I'm assuming, Carlene, you will be the MC.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
So
Those are my suggestions, and Bill probably has some additional things.
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
I just want to highlight the fact that when you make the presentation, I don't think you say to them, as I said to you, it's not scheme one or scheme two.
Right.
If there are elements of one that could be incorporated into the other, you're willing to discuss that. Because as we know, the amphitheater is an active use for the site. I mean, it will, of course, be used by people if it's built as a passive recreation spot, because it's just a great place to sit in the spring and get some sun, or in the shade in the fall, et cetera, et cetera. Great for schools. It's got a very big multi-purpose, but if the Natural Resources Committee doesn't want to see active in the riverfront,
Yeah.
then maybe you want to offer them the recessed lawn as part of this scheme, using the front from this and the side from that.
Okay. Yes. All right. All that sounds good. Does anybody want to make any more tweaks for Bill's final renderings, or do you feel confident that we're there, almost there?
I'm only reminding Bill that we like a different sumac color, and other than that.
Yep.
I'm good.
So between now and your next meeting, I'm not going to be able to pull together 3D conceptual renderings. Just
Oh, we don't need that, Bill. We don't need that. This is fine. What you have here is fine. Do you agree, Marcia?
Yes, I do. I don't think we want to show 3D renderings yet.
We're not far enough along.
No.
No, that's fine. Just, lighten that tea, add a little bit of a rosy color to the sumac. And I think, we're in good, you already colored in front of our eyes, the other trees in the Pollinator Meadow. I think we're pretty much there, Bill.
Okay. Let me
Okay.
do.
All right.
I'll save.
Bill, why don't you take us off share on your screen?
Okay. Oh, wait, I do have that PowerPoint presentation for you.
Oh, right. Why don't you, I can pull that up, or you can pull that up just to show folks. And your intention was to show this next week. Is that right, Bill?
Well, you asked for it.
Right.
It's up to you whether it gets shown. Yeah.
Right. Do you want to show it now to the, not to go through the whole thing, but just to, and I can send it to the group so that they can look at, I'm just keeping my eye on the clock and looking at time. Bill's put together a PowerPoint of elements. So kiosks, trash cans, bike racks, some seating. So he's put together, is it like it's like a 15 to 20 slide PowerPoint?
44.
44.
Can you see it?
I can't, we can only see, well, I can only see the rendering right now. I think you have to click off the rendering and click off the PowerPoint.
Rendering.
Sometimes you have to unshare and then, oh, well, there you go. Right, now we're with you.
Where did it go?
I have it if you don't.
About that.
It's coming. Yep, there it is.
Got it.
No.
Let me get the screen. So we've given 3 words. We're trying to associate those 3 words with Junction Village Park. And you'll see that we kind of weave them in different places.
Sue Felshen thought one of the she thought one of the words, or like if there were going to be a singular word, it could be justice. But then but she thought in terms of social justice. But then we were thinking maybe that would be like justice, because the prison's there, and that we should not do justice.
Yeah.
No,
It has
I-
multiple meanings. Yeah.
It seemed like it would be casting it in people's face to put the word justice there. Yeah.
Because Harry was thinking hope.
Hope. Yeah. Hope. Let's
Hope.
put the t-shirt, Shepherd Ferry t-shirt.
Yeah,
Wow.
right.
How about reflect instead of think?
Yeah, I think reflect. That would be
Not
good.
bad, actually.
That'd be fun to like quiz the public about what the 3 would be. learn, think, reflect, learn. What's the other one? I wrote it down, but I can't read my writing. What was the other? Oh, thrive.
Right, yep.
I like reflect.
Yeah, learn, reflect, act.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Ooh, action, Harry. Learn,
Except that I
reflect,
think that
act.
takes us too far away from, there will be people who will just want to go to the park because it's a nice park and it's by the river. And
Now,
neither learning nor thinking nor reflecting nor
that's
acting.
all right.
Like, right, yeah. Plus, I want us to stay as far away as possible from live, work, play, the world's most overused
Yeah.
motto.
Well, we thought these were non-inflammatory terms.
No, yeah, right.
Yes.
No, it's a nice concept.
Yes, and we want to stay away from the inflammatory fire department using it as a controlled burn place. I mean,
Flee.
So just very quickly, I'll go through these. These are some interpretive panels that we've seen that we like. They're really nondescript. They don't get in the way. We don't know what you're looking at, whether you want something a little more formal, the cast bronze with that they do for historic markers. Some bike rack ideas. A story walk.
Well, I don't know if it's appropriate to bring up now, and I don't know if, you know, it would ever fly, but I was thinking that, you know, potentially, I know it would be expensive, but if there was like a bronze, like relief kind of thing, that could be done for like Malcolm X.
Yeah.
And get some, you know, funding from the community that, you know, if it was like a budget buster kind of thing. I would think that this is just like a preliminary that people are like just understanding the concept of it. So that type of thing isn't needed at this point, but even if it, you know, is possible.
I love that idea, Harry.
We like the idea of the kiosk in the entry areas, but again, potentially maintenance problem and vandalism target. Maybe something a little less, a message board.
yeah,
Or
I
even
was
less.
thinking less is more, but again, we're soliciting ideas from the public too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yep.
No, these are great to show, though.
And boy, did we find signs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Are those granite posts expensive, that Bruce Freeman Trail one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would
Oh,
think.
definitely.
That one.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes.
Holy moly. Yes.
Mhm.
My
Well,
favorite sign, skunk cabbage.
I love skunk cabbage.
I love the sign.
Yeah.
That's pretty. Yeah, these are nice.
These are nice signs, yeah.
Yeah, this company out of Pennsylvania has some really nice ones. It's very much like where is that? I went past it. I went past it.
That's okay.
Yeah, a lot of these seem.
And then ideas on the plinths and paving. This is from Northeastern University. Thank you very much, Carlene. I think that's your pick.
Welcome.
And they have grayed out wood on top as a seating surface.
I really like that because.
Ew.
So beautiful.
But
The pavers are so nice.
Yeah.
And people use the plinths as desks. So it's really, this was a rainy day, so no one was out, but they're covered with people.
More paving ideas. Just surfaces, colors, textures.
Yeah. Loving it. Love it.
Yeah, something like this would be really neat because it's happy,
It's beautiful.
you know, the medallion in the center.
Mhm.
Our little idea on the
Yeah.
put that in there.
Yep.
You could also use the pavers to do a labyrinth kind of thing so that.
Oh, yeah.
If you talk about reflecting, you could make that happen as well.
Mhm.
I really like that idea, actually, if we're gonna have the writing be less formal, if we're going to have it more meandering and elaborate.
Mm.
It's
Well,
just
like
that,
as you said, the labyrinth at the
The church right there.
Methodist church has the paver, the inscribed pavers, which are lovely.
which was something I was going to mention to you, that the labyrinth has a lot of religious connotations to quite a few people. And
Oh,
I don't know if that's appropriate or not. That's your call.
okay.
I always think of it as pagan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's
the
only
other one.
pagan.
I know it does have a religious connotation to a lot of people, but it also shows up in broadly diverse religions, not just one. And I would avoid picking any specifically religious type design, but well,
Yep.
that's too much in the weeds for right now.
I have a pagan camp in my town, so I'm sensitive to it. We really thought this was fun, having some kind of bench and seating with a play aspect to it.
Mhm.
That would be kind of neat. Don't know if that's something you're interested in or not.
Mhm.
Well, and
There's
if they
one
also
in
have a nice picnic table
One
vibe.
in Junction Village, yeah.
So, I mean, sure, you can play chess, but
Park.
you can use it for work, you can use it for lunch, all kinds.
Right? And different benches. I tend to go towards the metal because they're easy to anchor to the ground and they're pretty hard to damage. And they last a very long time. But if you wanted, and we're very close to the end because you always put trash at the end. We don't even know if we're going to be doing trash receptacles out here because you don't know to what level maintenance will occur, correct?
Right, we can't say that yet. But it's fine to put them in there.
Like, there's no trash at the Bruce Freeman, right? Is that true?
Uh,
I think it's up to the
No.
vendors at the various villages, right?
Yeah, just there, but on the actual trail, right, like, I mean, in the village, yes, but I don't
Think
think
so.
on the trail there is.
Yeah, I don't think there is.
Mm-mm. So, which is just interesting. I just assumed there would be, but maybe
It
that's
invites,
something to think about, of not to have trash here.
we have found on the Trails Committee that to provide a receptacle means a disaster of dog poop bags that are overflowing and like Dunkin' Donuts plastic cups that are like a foot high.
Yeah, exactly. That's
So, sort of like carry in, carry out sort of thing. Okay, thank you, Bill. That looked really great. And thank you for putting together that presentation. I think that'll be really helpful for people.
Feel free to edit it any way you want.
Okay, okay. So I'm gonna minimize that on my own computer. And I'm gonna minimize okay. Couple of things, or more than a couple of things. So we need to talk about just getting the word out. And I just wanted to share a couple of things with you. Harry, please don't chortle. Can you see my
Okay.
poster?
I thought I had my video off, sorry.
Oh, good, keep it off. I just put to, I can't, Bill, for some reason, I can't, whenever I take your renderings, and these are your most recent ones, until 5 minutes ago, I had the old ones, the colors don't transfer, and maybe you know a trick of why. I don't understand. I have them on
No.
color on my desktop, and when I drag them onto this document, all the color disappears, but
We need to flatten the PDF.
okay. So you guys might hate this. I'm not a designer, but I just didn't know what else to do. So I took one of Bill's paver things, West Concord Public Forum. I put the 2 renderings in, and then I just put this information there. If you could just take a nanosecond to read it. I also wasn't sure what to do about the URL. We are listed on the calendar, but it's not a live link on the calendar. So maybe Marcia can help me fix that, or Heather, or something very quickly. I was thinking of this or something like this. If someone really hates it, I'm happy to work on it. Just to put into the doorways of everyone on Winthrop and Commonwealth. And I'm happy to do that over this weekend and then to put it into some of the storefronts over the weekend. And that was it. No more sort of, pamphleting, but just in that, physical, that physical space. Anyone have any thoughts? Or Sue says she has a Zoom fail. She's trying to get back on.
Krista did too.
That's
How are
weird.
people going to know about this? Just it's posted on the town website and then these flyers. Is there any?
And then we have, I have a little press release that I wrote up to show you that will be posted to all of the listservs.
Okay.
And I'm going to send it, once you all approve it, I'm going to send it to all of the heads of all the committees that we talked about. We have a long list, Harry, of like 12.
Yeah.
committees.
Remember that.
Send it to those committees and ask them to distribute it across their population.
Yeah. That sounds good. I do have a hard stop at 6.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it looks fine, what you put together. I think it's yeah, I mean, this is just, I think we just want to get people to come and
Right. And if it's okay, I mean, again, I'm no design, I work with a lot of designers, but I don't design things myself. But if that's okay, I was going to ask Marcia's help with getting it just into sandwich board size and see if we can get a couple of, just the ones out on Junction Park. And I don't know where else we're allowed. It's been a while since I've done a sandwich board, so I don't know where they're allowed, but big sizes, and get them out, to get them out in those few places, tomorrow or as soon as we can. And then word of mouth. I don't know what do folks think? What are your thoughts?
I know I can email, you're already planning to send it to the committee chairs, right? So they can
Absolutely, yeah.
forward it to their boards and committees. So that's one good thing. We can do news and notices through
Yes.
the town.
I saw there was a sandwich board at Junction Park for Porch Fest.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Junction Park is one, and then it used to be the 99. I don't know if that's allowed anymore.
I have to check.
I think if you want to put one right next to the park, so all the people who walk on the Bruce Freeman Trail, if there was something
yeah.
there that, then it's really specific and like, oh yeah, this is going to be a park. Yeah,
Yep.
I want to show up to that.
Yep. And then I guess I could put it in the center of town if you think that we should. It feels like a West Concord sort of thing. I don't know if we need to put something down there, but what do you think, Liz and Marcia?
I don't think it's critical, but I do like the idea of the Bruce Freeman. There's so many
Yeah.
people who do use it.
And isn't there a kiosk at the across from the 99?
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
You could put it on that. Mhm.
Okay. And then news and notices, that's ready to go. I'll send that to you right now, everybody. And if you want to wordsmith it at all, and it'll just be an announcement. I wish we had a logo. But
We're good. We don't need a logo.
a logo. Is Sue back in? Yeah.
But I dropped out for 5 minutes there due to an internet problem, so I'm not sure what I missed. I hope somebody took notes. Oh dear.
Oh, yeah, I just said a few things, Sue, nothing. Yeah. What other thoughts in terms of publicizing? And Liz, this isn't our only public forum, is it? This is just, could you help orient us to where fits in the process? You're on mute, which I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I am, right,
Okay.
and I'm just going to look at the, looks like my internet's unstable. Let me see what our timelines said about this.
While Liz is looking, Carlene, I can send it out to the West Concord Google group.
Yeah,
And I can send it to the concordgroups.io list.
okay. And then any Nextdoor people, I'm not on any of that stuff, but I know a lot of people get stuff on Nextdoor. No one's signed up to Nextdoor. Okay. I actually have a friend who signed up to Nextdoor. I'll ask her to post it for us.
How
In terms
about-
of- Oh, go ahead, Harry.
Well, how about Sam and the prison outreach people?
I'm on their board and I can send it to them.
Perfect, perfect.
So the
I'll send-
timeline that we had, I'm sorry,
No, go.
the timeline that we had at public forum, September and November. So here we are in mid-October. So, you know, I think it could be October and January. Right.
And
Yeah.
what would it be the same material in January, or what would it be? What would that be?
That would be, we presented it, here's what we heard, and here's how we've revised.
Okay, okay,
And I
I
think
think. I'm
the
sorry.
revised is one version based on the input that you received.
okay. That's
And that
great.
would be the lead up to town meeting. That starts that here's the town meeting, you know, proposal.
Okay,
And here's what we can get for the money that we've requested.
okay, okay,
Here's our starting point.
okay. In terms of next week, I assume Bill and I will be doing a lot of the talking. Do other people want to have speaking parts?
So,
No, I was just wondering how people we're gonna, like, what method we're gonna use to get feedback from people.
Good
And-
question.
And would we want to have like stations where we could kind of like, I mean, I get, maybe we don't need that with only 2 proposals, but
Could have 2 large printouts of the 2 proposals. and-
It's Zoom only. It's
Zoom
Zoom
Oh, Zoom
only.
only, excuse me, right, in which case people can use the chat feature to send in their comments, or maybe we should set up one of those Q&A ones so that people can submit comments without everybody seeing them. That is to say, all of the rest of the public seeing them in case.
Can
they
we
want-
offer a survey that we put on the chat? That's a downloadable survey that people can then take the survey right from the chat and then send it into a note on this, like a predetermined.
I'd kind of rather have it be open-ended, send us your comments. It, not only is it less work for us designing a survey, but it's less,
I think using both the Q&A function, having Q&A, and then at the very end, opening it up to everybody so people could turn on their screen and talk and ask a question or make a statement is really useful, because then people feel like they've been heard.
Okay.
And that is that was one of the criticisms that we've heard with webinars, is that you don't see who's talking or you don't see who's commenting. And so if you dedicate 10 minutes at the very, very end to allow people to do that, you'll have to monitor it and make it quick, but just to receive those comments so people feel heard is really valuable. I have no problem having my email address. If people have additional comments or concerns, they can email me directly and I can forward it to the committee so you can take it into consideration. You might want to have a cutoff date. So we need to hear from you by the end of October if you have additional comments or concerns, and we could put that on the website. So, as people, if they miss the meeting and they watch the recording and they want to offer comments, here's a way of doing it.
Okay, Krista, will you volunteer to moderate the chat? So
Sure.
that if people are putting questions in the chat and you can question the group that way, those who don't want to raise their own hand.
Mhm.
Sue, will you take minutes from this meeting? Take notes, it'll be recorded.
I
And
gotta
you-
hop off, Carlene. That's okay.
Okay, thanks,
Okay.
Harry.
Thanks, everybody. Talk to you later.
Gary, so are we panelists then, or is this is it a webinar with, no, because you would just mute everybody at the beginning except for,
Right,
Well,
Yeah.
I think you'd want to introduce your committee and have you present at the very beginning as the panelist, so people can see who's a member of this task force that's been working so hard. And then when you go to present the materials, then you can have everybody turn their screens off and just focus on you and Bill.
yeah, I think I'll handle it the same way I did the history session, which is, introduce everybody briefly, including Marcia and Liz. And then leave it to Bill to bring us through the concept plans and the PowerPoint. Bill, does that sound fine to you?
Sure.
And then open it up to questions, and people will either have the option of raising their hand and be called upon it. Marcia, if they do that, do they need to turn on their video and state their address? Is that the rule?
That's the rule, yes.
Okay, so they have to turn on their camera. They can't keep their camera off?
Correct.
Okay, that's interesting.
But I mean, they could keep their camera off. I mean, some people just don't know how to do that, so.
Okay, but
Oh.
address, as long as they say their
Yes, name
address.
and address, right.
Yep,
But just like you could come to a public meeting and speak with a bag over your head, you would still have to give your name and address.
right,
Sure.
okay. And then we'll do the open, right, the open, well, the Q&A and then open is that what you were saying, Mark? Like the
Yeah,
Q&A?
I would say those comments for the end, at very end, and have Krista reading you the questions that are asked in the chat and coming up with the answers.
Yeah,
So it's a very, very organized, but people have the opportunity to raise their questions and then you'll hear the
Absolutely.
answer for everybody. But
absolutely.
at the very, very end, say we're going to dedicate 10 minutes at the very end for if we haven't touched on something, or if you still have a comment that you'd like to make, we will be able to recognize you and have an opportunity to comment.
And then
And
we'll.
we know, oh, sorry.
Nope, go ahead, Liz.
We know people are going to ask, what is the total price tag? And from the CPA application that's been submitted, what can we get for that? And what will this cost? And what is the maintenance cost and implications? We just know those, so we might as well prepare and script those answers, because those are for sure what people are going to ask.
Liz, would you put that in an email and send it to Marcia and send it to Marcia and to me, and then I'll work on
Sure.
scripting that so that we're all on the same page, and Bill, and I can work on scripting that and making sure that those are talking points that all committee members get before
Mhm.
next Thursday.
Sure.
Okay, how are we going to deal with the question that Dory Kehoe raised through someone's email? Because I think that's going to come up.
Okay, Dory was asking if we could provide some kind of marker along the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail to indicate where these things were happening on the property, and whether there would be an opportunity to have a directed site tour. She attended the Community Preservation Committee site walk on September 23rd, and these questions came up after the fact. So defining the extent of the land owned by the Concord Housing Development Corporation, I think, is really important. And to define the point where we're going to be bringing people into the site at the southerly portion, and then the extent of the plaza area that might be developed, or that triangular piece might be useful. And then I think we need to check with the Concord Housing Development Corporation to see if they would be willing to host some site visits in the fall. And it might be a Saturday or different times, or if there's a way, and that I would ask Liz to reach out to Peter. I was hoping he'd be here tonight to see if there'd be that opportunity prior to or shortly after. November 9th is when I'm presenting to the Community Preservation Committee that night. So around that time would be really useful for people who are curious or interested. You'll have major presentation. You can go out and have a group, a small group, 10, 15 people, and that might be just what we need. I don't know.
Liz, does all that sound okay to you in terms of?
Yes, so the
asking.
CHDC is meeting next week, so we'll bring that up. We'd
Okay.
also want to, they'll also want to talk about, no trespassing signs also. So that, we can do the site, but this isn't an open site.
Okay.
And then I've started some conversation with Bill about trying to figure out what markers we might need to facilitate, especially the ones on the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail. And if while we're there, we should do with others, and maybe we can meet, in the next couple of days or next week or something, just to kind of firm that up and see what we can get done ahead of that.
Okay, that
I was
sounds.
also wondering, I was going to say this when I lost my internet earlier, whether it would be worth including any photos in our presentation. And they could either be photos of the site as is, which on the one hand looks like crap, but on the other hand, that would give people the idea that we would make it nicer. But, or on the other hand, could just be, what does a sumac grove look like? And, but on the other hand, we could just skip it on the grounds that we get too much material and nobody has time to go get photos. So I raised the idea, but I don't insist.
I included pictures in my submittal to the Community Preservation Committee of some of the site walks that we've done. So that, Bill, I'll send that to you. So if you wanted to add that to your presentation at some point to say, here are some pictures from site walks that we've conducted, and gives you an indication or an understanding of what how the site is today, kind of thing.
Bill, if it's getting too long, you can take out all the trash can stuff and add 2 or 3 slides with photos,
Right.
you know?
What I'll do is, I'm actually not working tomorrow or Monday or Tuesday. So on
Good for you.
Wednesday, so on Wednesday, I'll try and distribute a modified PowerPoint,
Okay,
because I
We're not-
really think you guys should see it. Everybody should see it before
Yeah.
Thursday.
it looks fine as it is though, so we trust you, and yes, but thank you for that. And again, you could take out the trash cans, put in just a couple sites of here's what it looks like now, couple slides of that, and I think that would satisfy Sue's request. Sue, Harry left at 6:02, by the way, for the purpose of the minutes.
So-
So Bill, maybe we can schedule a little time for the week of the 18th then. Why don't you send me some times that you're free, and I'll just make myself available.
What?
Carlene, I have one, this is Krista, I have one quick question, and then I have to run.
Fine.
Is this, is all this gonna be on a web page on the town website so people can look afterwards and give it some thought and provide feedback?
I think it'll be up before I don't know, but I'm thinking we'll put all of this up soon.
Well, we're not going to get the PowerPoint until next Wednesday, so that's
The
not bad.
renderings though, can
Oh,
we
the
put the
rendering.
renderings up?
Yeah, okay, we can try.
Okay. So yes, Krista, immediately after it'll be up, and we'll see, well, I don't know, we'll see if we can put them up before, but yes,
Okay, thank you, sorry, I have to run.
that's fine. Thank you, Krista. She leaves at
Okay.
6:10, and with her absence, we have to, I think we're at the end, but we have to adjourn the meeting because we've
right.
lost quorum.
Sorry.
So at 6:10, I will, we can't even do roll call because she scooted out of here, but at 6:10, I will adjourn the meeting with, okay, so we're adjourned. Is that all right?
If Sue left, the 4 of us, Liz, you, Carlene, and Bill, and I could talk sort of the logistics of getting the
Yes.
documents back and forth.
Yeah,
Oh, but you can't even have, one extra person. And I was going to make a comment to you, Marcia, but I will email it to you, cluttering up your mailbox so as to, it was a logistical thing anyway. Am I allowed to say, when we have a public meeting, is there any way to make it visible to the public how many people are attending the meeting? Because it drives me crazy when I
it's on the
can't
bottom, Sue.
1 or 5,000 members of the public.
Oh, you
Some
purchased,
display it and some don't. So if we can
But
have the kind that does, I'd like that.
It's on the bottom, Sue. It says it under participants. So when you
No,
look
I
at,
mean for the public forum, because it looks different to the members of the public.
we would
Right,
have.
the
that-
webinar, the
Yeah,
webinar
the
is different.
webinar has that.
Great,
yes.
lovely. All right, bye. I will take myself out of the way.
bye, Sue, thank you. Marcia, before I forget, we don't have a chat function in here, so someone would have to enable that. for next
I
week.
will mention that and get that added. Okay,
And I think that's the only other feature that we're lacking here. If someone could make me co-host so that if I call on someone, I can unmute them
Yep.
and you don't have to worry about that.
yes,
Those are the 2 logistical things that way.
I can do that. That's a really good idea, just in case I lose internet access too. I
Yeah.
don't think of that all the time. Good.
Right. Okay,
Okay.
I will, I'm gonna grab those 2 renderings with the building and edit them and flatten them. Theoretically, that should make it an importable document with color.
Okay.
I'll do that before I leave tonight.
thank you. And send it to me tonight.
Right.
Thank you, Bill. Marcia, can then I send you my little amateur poster, and can I get a bunch of copies so that I can
Yes.
walk up and down and put them at the, like, I don't know, is 200 too many?
No.
Okay,
Can
I don't
you
know how-
copy me on that, and I can send it around to my circle.
Mhm.
I'll send you both the flyer and the little press release that I have, and you can decide whether you want to
Perfect.
send it as text or as an attachment with the
Yeah,
flyer.
and the CHDC and the CPO as well as other
Yeah.
groups, yeah.
And then Marcia, we can blow that up, I assume, and make it into the sandwich board size?
Try.
Okay,
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it tomorrow. It probably will
worries.
have to wait till Tuesday. I'm
no
sorry.
worries. No
Okay.
worries at all. I think it's better when people see that stuff at the, we don't want it out there for weeks and weeks anyway, so don't worry about that. I'll get the flyers out all this weekend though,
Okay.
and the press release is out today and tomorrow.
Elaine, can I just ask for a change on the press release?
Yes,
You have architectural landscape company and we're landscape architects.
oh.
Switch the
sorry.
word landscape and architecture.
Let me just, I'm just gonna pull that up so that we can wordsmith it. Places, associates, architecture. So here I have working with landscape so say it again.
Architectural firm. Yeah, just switch the two words.
Landscape architectural firm, places, associates. Should I say where you're based? With like Boston based, do you know what I mean?
Well, we're Littleton based, but no, I don't think so.
No, okay. It's a reporter in me who thinks like that. Okay, Liz, I'm not mentioning the CHDC in here. Does that bother you?
Nope.
Okay. Marcia, should I send this to you to wordsmith, or is it okay? Is it fine to, and do you want me to put you here, or I figured I'd field questions. Why should you?
There's the third line down in the second paragraph. Our goal is to create
Oh, yeah.
an area. Yep. I'm sorry. And what?
Is it okay if I put questions with me? I figured I would field questions and not have you.
Okay, if you're okay with that, sure, I don't mind.
Okay,
The
only
only
other-
thing would be whether you wanted to weave in the 3 magic words, the 3,
yeah,
the think, reflect, is it think, reflect, and thrive?
thrive.
You could start to use those if you like them. You could start to use those in all the printed material.
What Marcia and Bill, what do you think about that?
I'm not sure that the committee really weighed in on it, not
Right.
to commit.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay. Yep.
Marcia, can we get, you might not know, but I'm just going to show you what I'm just going to show you something, and then because it's such a long, for the poster, it's such a long website. Now, when I looked this morning, it was right up here, but a bunch of stuff has been added across the day. So you have to
yeah.
do show more. Oh, I don't know
Yeah.
if you can see this.
Yes, I can.
And then we're down here, but there's nothing live here. So is this too hard for people to find?
It might be. But,
Mhm.
this is the best we can do, I think, right now.
Well,
We'll
can you
send
do like
out,
a news?
with the news and notices, we'll send out the full thing. So there's
Yeah.
about 700 people who are signed up for news and notices. They'll get that directly. And for
Okay.
everybody that we're sending it out to, we'll include the Zoom link. I need to make sure that the chat function works with the Zoom link that we have. So I'm going to check with, I'll send an email to Heather tonight, text her, let her ask that question. So.
Okay,
Just to
because I
make
just
sure.
want to show you one other thing for the website. I just did calendar. Would it make sense? I looked on it, our stuff doesn't live on the planning board. So there's not a nice, neat URL. This is the neatest URL I could find that would bring people to something.
Ooh. We don't have a Junction Village task force?
Not on you, it's at, yeah, sorry, I'm sitting.
It's
in
it's a committee though. I think the committee is there, right?
Yeah.
It has to go, but it has to go. All right, when I did it, it was a long website through the select board, but
Oh,
maybe.
no. Let me see.
And then we could put a live link there if you find something that's a neater URL.
Yeah, there should be.
No, you have your own little website. And then the rendering schemes 1A, 2, like those are there
Yeah.
already.
Well, we'll replace those and put Bill's new
Yeah.
one.
Oh, I
and two.
can't do a chat to you. I was gonna just give you the URL chat, but in the chat.
Just
right.
email it to me, Liz, or text it. I don't think we're on text, but
You know what? La, la, la.
did you find a nice short little
Yes,
URL?
there's
Liz?
one for your committee.
And is it .gov, like backslash and then JV, whatever?
on,
It's Easy.
hang
Oh,
on,
that's
let me show you.
terrific.
Well,
You
the
see
one I
that?
found does not have a small URL.
It has concordma.gov /2775
Yeah.
/Junction Village. Can you see that, Carlene?
Yeah,
Very, very
Yeah.
top.
yep, I
Yeah.
see it.
So you should
So
be
I
able to,
just emailed you that particular link.
Okay, so that's not perfect, but it's better than a crazy long one with
Yeah,
1,000 numbers. So they
Right.
can look
It
at
takes
on
you
the
right
poster.
there. Takes you right there. So.
Okay, all right. Okay, so that's good. What else?
So I think we'd send it to the CPC.
yeah,
So that's
CPC
another
and the
group.
NRC, you know, we'll get it. CPC, NRC, Planning Board, West Concord Advisory Committee, West Concord Junction. I'd like to try to get the
I'll
whole
take care of all
committee.
of that. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
Perfect.
Bill, when you send that final rendering to me, I'll stick it on. I mean, it's not like you can really see it, but it'll give the concept. I think it's important to have it on there. You'll send it to me and I'll finish this up. And by tonight, by the time you come in the morning, you both will have all that information. You can do whatever you want with it.
Okay.
And then Marcia, would I write just to Heather specifically and say, Heather, can you make 200 copies of this for me? And I'll come in and get it tomorrow.
Heather isn't in tomorrow, so I will be in. I'll have to do it.
Okay. I'm sorry, Marcia.
It's okay. No,
Okay.
you have no idea how many copies I have to make for the visitor center. So
All right, Bill, what else from you? Anything you need from us?
I just sent you one of the schemes flattened to make sure it works.
All right, let me pull that up. I see it. How do I save this onto my save to downloads? And then move to inbox, sorry. I'm just gonna do it really quickly. So that I can test it and then I'll go. Hold on. Design plan scheme building. I think this is the one you just, it says rendering with building.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't access, you would,
It's color. It has the color. So that's all we
Okay.
need to know. Great.
perfect.
So, yep. So just give me the one with the grassy knoll. And we'll know that we've got what we need and we'll go from there.
very good.
Liz, you have what you need?
Yeah, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, and Marcia, you'll get all of my stuff, and then if you need anything else from me, just tell me tomorrow.
Very good. Will do.
I guess the only other thing is, are you set with what your meeting schedule is after this public forum?
No, I don't know what it is. It was all sort of going toward the public forum, but
know, yeah.
we can decide it, Liz, right now.
Or you just
I
might
would
wanna-
like, can we think about, I would like to end this meeting, or I can make a co-host.
No,
'Cause I have a
no,
meeting
we
at
can end
7
it. We
o'clock
can
that I
end
go
it.
before.
We can end it and we can do that on email. No worries.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Take care. See you.